Welcome to this explainer. Today we are diving headfirst into an absolutely gripping, non-linear story. We're unpacking the wild narrative of a mysterious guy who infiltrates a cash transit company with a deeply hidden and highly lethal agenda.
Right off the bat, we've got to ask, how does a totally average, low-scoring security guard suddenly become the absolute worst nightmare for heavily armed criminals? Let's peel back the layers together on a protagonist known simply by a single letter, H.
Section 1. The Mysterious Security Guard H.
So picture this. We're in Los Angeles at a company called Fortico Security. Now, they handle massive cash deliveries, which is a highly dangerous job where people have literally lost their lives. Enter their newest recruit, Patrick Hill, who gets slapped with the nickname H by his coworker, Bullet. During his rigorous 60-hour training course, H performs with just deliberate mediocrity. I mean, he scores exactly a 70%. That's the absolute bare minimum required to pass. During shooting practice, he's only hitting the outer rings, and his driving test is even worse. He practically fails by throwing the truck in reverse and crashing into a bunch of boxes. But here's where things get kinda weird. On paper, H is a terrible driver with a 17% score, barely scraping by. But in reality, his behavior tells a completely different story. He is terrifyingly calm. He's intensely observant. And he spends all his downtime quietly analyzing his colleagues' ID cards. It's this super calculated, suspicious demeanor that makes pretty much everyone around him deeply uneasy.
Section 2. The Heist and H's True Colors.
Okay, so one day, H and his team are out transporting $2 million in cash when they are suddenly ambushed by a heavily armed gang. The tension here is just palpable. His colleague Bullet is dragged out and held hostage. Another guard, Dave, is literally paralyzed by fear, begging them to just follow company policy and hand over the money. But H? He remains unnervingly cold. When the kidnappers warned that any movement means Bullet dies, H just calmly replies that backing down isn't an option.
And what happens next completely shatters that illusion of his mediocre training scores. Acting like a panicked rookie, Hazel's purposefully drops a money bag outside the truck just to lure a greedy thief out. And then the lethal professional takes over. With brutal efficiency and literally zero hesitation, Hazel takes out the entire gang single-handedly with 100% precision headshots. Section 3. The Terrifying Truth of Father's Grief. Well, after a massive shootout like that, naturally, the FBI brings H in for questioning. And the shocking reveal? He's not some secret agent. And he definitely isn't just a lucky rookie. He is actually a highly wanted crime boss who has managed to elude the Bureau for 25 years. So, to understand why a crime boss is playing dress-up as a security guard, we have to jump back. 5 months ago, a tragedy occurred during another Fortico heist. Cut to the present day, and H has infiltrated the company specifically to find the people responsible for that event, and it's all barreling toward an ultimate showdown on Black Friday. Let's rewind those 5 months. H was out running an errand with his son Dougie. By sheer horrific coincidence, they witness a Fortico truck robbery taking place right under a bridge. To eliminate witnesses, a ruthless thief named Jan mercilessly executes the boy. H is severely wounded trying to save him, but right before passing out, he burns Jan's face into his memory. That single moment shatters his life. His wife leaves him, and it sparks a singular, obsessive quest for revenge. H manages to get his hands on the autopsy report of his son. But you guys, it's not just a medical document anymore. It becomes a chilling blueprint for his vengeance. It details the exact internal organs destroyed by the bullets. He actually uses the threat of this precise violence to ruthlessly interrogate his own coworkers, hunting down the inside mole who set up that fatal heist. Section 4, Black Friday, Betrayal, and the Big Score. Now, let's shift our focus to the true antagonists of the story. We're talking about an ex-military gang led by a man named Jackson and featuring that ruthless killer, Jan. The stakes for their next hit? A massive $50 million. They're targeting Black Friday, which is hands down the absolute busiest cash day of the year for Fortico, and they're going all in with heavy armor and military precision. But they need a way in. In a massive twist, H's supposedly friendly colleague, Bullet, reveals his true colors. He straight up tells H, "I am the inside man." Bullet is the traitor feeding all the intel to Jackson's gang. He actually offers H a cut of that massive $50 million, just to look the other way and cooperate.
H, realizing he has finally found a direct path to his son's killers, plays along and pretends to agree.
So Black Friday arrives, and Bullet smuggles the heavily armed gang inside the depot by hiding them in his truck. But a brave guard manages to trigger the alarm, plunging the whole depot into a massive, desperate shootout between these military-trained robbers and the vastly outgunned guards. In the middle of this explosive crossfire, H bricks his restraints, steals a dead robber's tactical armor, and joins the fight in disguise. Meanwhile, Bullet drops his friendly facade completely and ruthlessly executes his own innocent colleagues, Dave and Diana.
Section 5. Blood for Blood. The surviving thieves, a badly wounded Jackson, Jan, and the traitor Bullet, actually managed to escape the police blockade by navigating through a network of secret underground tunnels. But greed ultimately destroys them from within. Talk about no honor among thieves, right? In a brutal betrayal, Jan quickly slits his own leader Jackson's throat and then turns his gun on Bullet, shooting him dead. Jan escapes to his luxurious flat, fully believing he's secured the millions entirely for himself. But come on, H is always one step ahead. First, Jan hears a ringing coming from the money bags. H had quietly planted a phone in the cache so he could track the exact location. Next, H just appears in the apartment and presents that chilling autopsy report to Jan, finally revealing exactly who he is. And the conclusion? H executes Jan by targeting the exact same internal organs that were destroyed in his son. It is a terrifyingly precise, almost poetic end, connecting right back to that foreshadowed document. And this right here reveals H's true motivation. Despite being a crime boss himself, that $50 million means absolutely nothing to him. His ultimate priority was closure. He leaves the entire massive fortune behind for the FBI chief to find and quietly walks away into the night, his brutal mission complete. Which brings us to the end of our explainer. I want to leave you with a final thought to really chew on. In a dark world of criminals and traitors, what truly drives a man further? Is it the sheer calculated greed of a $50 million heist or the immeasurable destructive grief of a lost son? It's a profound moral complexity that makes this narrative just unforgettable. Thank you so much for joining me today as we unpacked this incredible story.
Hello Hollywood movies lovers, new trailers, Spider-Man branding, new dates, movies, story watching for. Thank you for, and please more subscribe and support your little brother for me. Hey, YouTube is not mass content, it's my content. I am last point, I am contribution and short little contribution is my parts, is my way. And guys, thank you for supporting and subscribe, please. More less beginning next more expensive Hollywood movie stories coming soon.